Hello, this video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon and my members on YouTube. Minasan, arigatou gozaimasu. My name is Kurt. Today's the third day of January 2024, and this is my Good Life meditation, an exercise that I do each and every morning, a little bit after waking up. It's now 4:56 a.m. I make this video and I do this exercise to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can get a copy of, if you like, from the link down in the description. I do recommend the hardbound edition. I make this in a video format that I upload because doing so has a way of causing me to do a better job, to take it more seriously. If I do this into the void, I tend to be a little more rushed and impromptu and less considered and less deliberate. So this is helping me to be more disciplined in my effort here. It's also fun to share. Maybe someone might find these things interesting and helpful in their own endeavor to live well. There's a few things that I do during this exercise. I open with a poem that I'll read in just a second. Then I go over the last 24 hours, including last night, to see how I did with the various challenges and opportunities that I met. I then go over my catalog of activities for the day, and then I prepare myself to die. Such a sober sounding last one there, huh? But it's really important. To that end, let's begin. I'm going to read again, I think this is the third time, maybe the fourth time, Edward Thomas's poem called The Child on the Cliff. Here we go. The Child on the Cliff. Mother, the root of this little yellow flower among the stones has the taste of quinine. Things are strange today on the cliff. The sun shines so bright, and the grasshopper works at his sewing machine so hard. Here's one in my hand, Mother, look. I lie so still. There's one on your book. But I have something to tell more strange. So leave your book to the grasshopper, Mother dear, like a green knight in a dazzling marketplace. And listen now, can you hear what I hear far out? Now and then the foam there curls and stretches a white arm out like a girl's. Fishes and gulls ring no bells. There cannot be a chapel or church between here and Devon, with fishes or gulls ringing its bells. Hark! Somewhere under the sea or up in heaven. It's the bell, my son, out in the bay, on the buoy. It does sound sweet today. Sweeter I never heard, Mother. No, not in all Wales. I should like to be lying under that foam, dead, but able to hear the sound of the bell, and certain that you would often come and rest, listening happily. I should be happy if that it could be. What a sober and interesting poem of a child and a mother on a sea cliff above crashing waves, and the boy mistaking the sound of the buoy bell for a bell under the waves, being heard by the fishes. Such descriptive imagery. Not very childlike imagery in many ways, right? I can't imagine but a poet to describe some of these things. The waves reaching out like the white arm of a girl. Interesting imagery. And the dialogue back and forth. I can picture the mother and the child sitting up there, the mother reclining on the grass reading her book while the child thinks about the butterflies, the insects, the sounds. What else does he describe here? The flower tasting of quinine, and the sun so bright. And then the very awakening comments at the end about being dead under the waves and hearing the sound and his mother coming to hear the same sound. I'm sure that I'll think about that when I visit the few times I have left before I leave America, when I visit my own father's bones at the bottom of the sea, his ashes, which are deposited just off the harbor mouth in Dana Point, California. No harbor bell there, but plenty of sounds Dad and I could hear, in theory, together. Right, let's carry on. Adding another to-do list to the item to the to-do list, which is to record that poem, to upload it, the poem reading. Okay, back to the point. Last night and yesterday, slept pretty good last night. Was up just a little bit. Not my thoughts were leaving me alone. Just woke up just a little bit, but I still got a good night's sleep. Got to bed early. I was in bed before 9 p.m. Up by 4, and aroused and ready to go. I had a good solid day of work yesterday. I did good. Man, I had the last 2 weeks of work before the new year was just phenomenal. I'm really reached the pinnacle of my game now. And yesterday was great too. It's really a shame to retire when I'm on my A game now. Nothing really challenged me work-wise yesterday or personally. I did go to the beach to take my ambitious swim. It was a good swim. Had a good talk with Angela on the beach, and then I made 2 new friends. A couple that moved into a house right there by the beach. They've got a beautiful little apartment there. They're going to be there for a long time. They've got the best spot on the beach, and we talked. We had a nice talk. Made new friends. I see them almost every day, but we'd never talked before. I wished them a happy new year, and they responded back. They said, "Do you swim every day?" And then that struck up the conversation. It's good to make friends in places, even though for me, I don't really keep friends for very long because I always move on. Had an interesting talk with Angela about that over the weekend on the beach. She couldn't understand why I would leave such a paradise as Huntington Beach. And that's how we wound up, and one of the ways I wound up meeting the couple there, because turns out she knew them. I see them almost every day when I walk back and forth. Usually they're puttering around their front porch there, and I just kind of, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, morning if on the weekends. And Angela said, Kurt, you don't have to leave Huntington Beach. It's just, you could get an apartment right here by the sand and swim every day. She said, and she was saying that I like the couple that I know just over here that got the place. I said, you know them? Because I knew who she was talking about. Turns out, yeah, they know each other. And then when we were talking yesterday with the couple, I said, I think we have a mutual friend in Angela. And they said, oh yeah, Angela, we love Angela. So we have this little community. So what Angela was challenging me in a bit was to not leave, right? Because that's what Yumiko and I do. We leave. We don't stay. And I told Angela, I said, to me, it's like staying in one community very long, even if it's a great community. It's like eating at one restaurant every weekend. There's so many more and so much nothing after death. An eternity of oblivion awaits. And sure, the connections are there, the human connections are there, but there's more connections to come. In Menifee, the one year that we were there, I made connections with Don. I can't even. The names are starting to fade. The old man down the street, the neighbors right next door, the people at the dog park that I saw regularly, and you start to build these connections, right? These bonds. But then, if I'd stayed in Menifee, I wouldn't know Angela and the 2 new people yesterday, and Renee next door, and Sam next door on this side, and Bob and Laurel down the way, or any of them. It's like you get to go and have these experiences all over again. And some people I keep in touch with, some I don't. But after death, none of us are going to keep in touch. So why don't you move on and have more experiences? So Angela was, I think she was a little bit upset with me. That, we're friends. Right? And I think sometimes people take it that way, that, we leave and we're leaving them behind. And we are. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Yumiko and I treasure our the progression of experiences in life more than the individual friends that we make in any one place. Otherwise we would have stayed in Santa Barbara. We have great friends in Santa Barbara. And wonderful people. But, as Thoreau said, perhaps when asked why he left the woods at Walden Pond. He said, perhaps I left the woods for as good a reason as I went to them. Perhaps I had other lives to live and explore before this one life is done. So, thoughtful day yesterday, coming home from the beach. Now, there's more to yesterday, significantly more. Bob and Laurel, just down two doors down here, they're in a bad way. I've talked about them before. They are an older couple whose health is failing fast. I would say not by virtue of their own neglect, not helped by their own efforts. They don't exercise at all. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just setting the context, right? They don't exercise at all, and they just eat junk all the time. Just sugary soda drinks, candy, snacks, crackers, and they eat out, and it's just a big. It's just the way that they live. Oh, and now they're paying the consequence for that, at least in part, right? It facilitates that, right? And I'm only saying that not by way of trying to throw any shade their way. I'm saying that more as a cautionary tale. It really causes me to rethink every little cheat and having like a little chocolate bar, left over from Halloween or something like that. These things pay a price. So, anyway, the roosters have come home to roost, so to speak, and they are both going down fast. Now, I've seen this coming. I've talked about this on this meditation and other videos and on my blog posts, my journal writing, which is a public journal. And they don't see it coming. They maintain this idea that they're going to travel and see the world, but they don't take care of themselves. And it's really blinders on. Like Laurel has a growth going on inside of her, probably cancer, but she won't get it checked out because she doesn't want to know what it is. And also, I won't go into this, but they have a whole host of just truly awful diseases. Class A, if there is a class rating, any one of these things is showstopper, game over, the type of things. And they've been piling up slowly, and they refuse to seek any care. They have no children. They have one friend who's even older than them, and she lives down in next city over in Costa Mesa. I've gotten to know her as well. And it's like they're driving a car towards a cliff, and they refuse to touch the brakes. They refuse to veer aside. They refuse to even acknowledge there's a cliff. And now they're at the precipice. Bob's in the hospital now, and he's probably not going to come back. But the best case scenario for Bob is that he's going to wind up in a convalescent home. And I used to work in convalescent homes. For a lot of people there, that's where they go to die, right? Some of them come out, but I don't think Bob's coming out of this one. I won't go into too many details. I don't want to trespass on their privacy too much. So Bob's out of the picture, and that's probably happening. Laurel is still over here. Now she's got the friend in Costa Mesa. She's retired, but she's older too, and she's not doing so well. She's over here every day. She parks her car, and then she's in and out taking care of stuff, facilities. So she's kind of like being that care, but she's not going to be able to keep that up for very long. She's old herself. Last night after I came home from the beach, I found her puttering around in the dark in the parking lot, and I went over and asked her how she's doing. Because they know me, I'm helpful. I talked to Bob every day when he was here, because he would pass by this window going back and forth to go out to get fast food for them for their meals, like I said. And she said she had lost her keys. We searched, we went through the garbage, pulled all the garbage out, spewed it all out on the ground, so she couldn't find the keys. They let me in the house. I went in, and it's a disaster. And couldn't find the keys anywhere. So the friend agrees. The friend's as close as they've got to a custodian. Now Laurel really can't make her own decisions anymore. She's suffering from Alzheimer's, although when you first speak to her, she doesn't seem like it. She seems pretty aware, but 10 minutes later, whatever you're talking about is gone, right? So she really can't do it. So I didn't know where that line was, and ever since the friends stepped in, I was at that line about a month ago, 2 months ago, and I really wasn't know what to do. I even made a comment on my social media asking for advice. And then the friend showed up and seemed to have everything under control. But now clearly the friend's having trouble too. She's old. She can't find her keys. It's way too much. She can't handle. Now Bob's gone. He's not coming back, and Laurel's by herself, and you see the disaster, right? So I talked to her last night, and I said I would like to call social services and also the Huntington Beach Police non-emergency line because there have been at least four incidents that the firemen have had to come to they fall and they can't get up. And and I talked to the firemen. I said, what options do we have? And they told me about the non-emergency line. But I hadn't pulled the trigger on that because the friend was here. And I thought, she's a lifelong friend. And the irony is that Laurel and Bob were here, remained in Huntington Beach. They're from Oregon because they wanted to be here to help the other friend through her last stage. But it turned out to be the reversal. So anyway, I'm going to do that today. I'm going to reach out to Orange County Social Services Adult Protective Services, and I'll reach out to the non-emergency line, and I'll see what I can do to help out to facilitate that. Also, I'm on a short leash since I'm here all day with the texting, so I can go over and pop in. It was good that I was in the house yesterday. Laurel told me, come over anytime, just knock and open the door. So I'm here. I'll do what I can, and I'll get social services helpful. I've gone on and on about this. This has been also, in addition to being a tragedy, but hopefully something we can then mitigate through getting both Laurel and Bob into long-term help. It's also a cautionary tale for a couple of reasons. One, my mom is on that verge as well. She's 86 years old. She's still doing fine. But the challenge there is she doesn't want to have anything to do with me. So she won't even answer my phone calls anymore. So it's hard to help someone that refuses to have you in their life. But it's my filial duty, and I want to be there for my mom. I appreciate her, and even though she doesn't want to have me in her life, I do want to be there to help her in any way that I can. Ironically, though, it'll be strange. You might think, well, Kurt, you're going to Japan. How can you help your mom? Ironically, I'll be more available to help my mom from Japan than I am here. Because what will happen is, in the short term, if something happens and my mom needs me, in the short term, my brother, who's here as well, can help, but he's got small kids, so he can't help too much. I will be on a plane back. Once we get settled over there, we've got a place we're retired, got retirement income, I don't have to work anymore, then I can be on a plane and come back, and my mom's got a 2-bedroom place. I will force my way into her life, lawyers and paperwork, whatever I need to do. Boy, if she heard that. And I will live at her place, and I will care for my mom and get her do whatever I need to do. This is practice in a way, I guess, for that. The third thing that came out of that was the very sobering realization that Yumiko and I are within a decade or two of being in the same, maybe decade or two, depending on how things go, being in the same position ourselves. And we've already disabused ourselves of any idea that we were going to live way out in the countryside. We had originally thought that maybe some little farm deep in the Izu Peninsula. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to be so far away that no one can help us and that we have no access to services, especially when we can no longer drive. So that's going to refine our home search. Now, the number one home we want in Japan would work that, although Yumiko was saying yesterday after I told her all of this, she was saying, well, maybe even that one's out, because it's about 3 kilometers from the nearest supermarket. We've got an ace in the hole. I won't talk about that ace just yet, but we have an ace in the hole that we can talk about. We have a way for the family to come together in the end. Because it really is there's really not much left of our family at this point. On the Japan side, Emily will be really the last man standing, so to speak. So the rest of us are going to have to come together in old age. get ourselves into a place that is accessible, convenient, and then also, Yumiko and I were talking about, we need to plan our not just our final plan, how to dispose of our corpses, and so that it's not a burden to Emily, but also what to do once we're too old to be able to take care of ourselves. How we find some old age home in there in Shizuoka that we can then plan. Because the good thing is that we have a good steady income for the rest of our life. So we can, and the money works well. Money coming from America, at least now, works well translated into yen. So we can find ourselves a nice little retirement community somewhere that can, in Japan or something like that, that can, we can check ourselves in and say, well, we're done. We're checking out before Emily has to come check us in. Big day yesterday, and a lot of those thoughts. I've gone on and on, but I'm glad I was able to talk all this through. Let's wrap all this up. The Good Life Meditation, the Good Life Creed, 8 objectives, 35 principles. Today I was going to focus on the objective, or the principle titled Nature. I'm just going to read it as a refresher to myself. It's in the chapter titled the Good Life. The Good Life. There it is, right there. The Principle of Nature. The Principle of Nature. Everything and everyone has some qualities in character which define what they are and what they are about. This nature, combined with perspective and will, is their paradigm and operational guide. The demands of biology are a mandate deep and sound from the perspective of survival and the continuance of our kind. I ask myself at every chance, what is the nature of the things I will meet and interact with today? What are the natures of the people I know and with whom I share life? And what is my own nature? What am I made of and where am I going? Knowing these things will help me to engage better and more reasonably with everyone and everything. The 8 objectives then are to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize true limits and true opportunities, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully, and to maintain my balance. My 35 principles now, let's see if I can tally them, are in rapid fire. War, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil. Purpose, atomic principle, nature, pirate ride, maturity. Social principle, family, public speaking, temperance. Life will not go well. The horror show. That which must be born. The feast of offal. Distraction. Agency and the great indifference. The risk. The restless man. The path of wildness. The great life adventure. The risk of avoiding risk. Sin and damnation. Complete oblivion. Ooh, did I forget one? Did I forget the best seat in the house? Oh boy, now I'm all messed up on my numbers. Path of wildness. The great life adventure. The season of philosophy. The complete oblivion. I'm all messed up now. That's all right. Complete oblivion, blah, blah, blah. The season of philosophy. Script writing, the bullseye aim, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, the principle of fun, and being prepared. By my tally, that's 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 36. Well, I think that says it. I threw in that extra one. That would be the 36th. So I didn't have it wrong. I muddled and flustered myself up. Okay. Oh, keep the list. What am I going to do today? Well, today is a work day. It's a Wednesday. So on the personal side, I'm going to do my YouTube comments. I've already answered all of those. I got a really touching one from one young man, age 26. So he says, telling me about how he's trying to collect his thoughts and get his thoughts in order. I answered all my comments on Meta. That includes Facebook and social media and Instagram. I answered all my email already. I'm completing my Good Life meditation now. Next, I'll read the Bible, reading the book of Luke. Then I'll update my journal, color a page of the book, work on the blinds. You can see are a little broken. See how they're kind of, so I have the blinds guy is going to come today. I have a serial killer voiceover. I was asked yesterday to provide an American news anchor voiceover for a music bit that's being done in the United Kingdom. So I'm going to do that today during my lunch break. And then upload the video. So that's for today. I'll get all that done. What I don't get done before I start work at 6:30 a.m., I will finish between my breaks and my lunch and in the evening. And then work, I have all the stuff. You don't need to hear about my work tasks. Got my day laid out. Okay, the last thing. Readiness for death. I have 3 criteria to be ready to die. Very important thing. 1, are my affairs in order? 2, are my relationships sound? 3, is my life's work complete? The answer to all 3 is a resounding yes. But wait, Kurt, what about your mom? You can't call that in order. Well, it's in order to the extent that I can make it in order, right? I mean, I can reach out, I can try, I can endeavor to persevere to have a relationship with my mother. But if she doesn't want to have a relationship with me, that's beyond the scope of my control if I'm being reasonable, right? So yeah, my relationship is as sound as it can be with my mom under the circumstances. So that means I can die now without a single backwards glance. If I have a heart attack, I just fall to the ground and pass away to oblivion. Aneurysm, likewise to the same, but I imagine that would be a little more interesting. If I drown this evening on the beach, as I almost got swept out to the sea last week that one day, big waves, I shouldn't have gone in. So be it too. Go under, gurgling down under the waves without looking back at the beach. No thoughts of my family, no thoughts of regrets, no thoughts of I wish I had. I am in a position now that I can die, as I love to say, without a single backwards glance. Now, it's easy to say. Could I actually do it? Will it happen? I don't know. Doesn't really matter because I'll be dead shortly thereafter. But it's good to, what's important is the reinforcing element of thinking about it every day now to ask myself, is there something yet that I could do? Is there someone that I should reach out to? Is there some bit of the puzzle of my financial affairs that are not in such a way that my wife and daughter will be well taken care of when I'm gone? So I can attend to those things. And there's not. It's all in good shape. So I'll take one deep breath. Feel that air filling my lungs. Feel that air filling my lungs. And I can still breathe a full breath of air. I'm ready for the day. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care. I will move forward and up. I will rarely stop, and I will never